and welcome to this Car Pod.
I'm Kennan.
I'm Filippo.
And let's just get into it. Start it off, Jaguar. Jaguar. We're going to start with the news and talk Jaguar.
Right.
Jaguar has rebranded. And can we play the video? Let's
Yeah.
just play the video. Filippo hasn't seen it yet.
All right. There's sound,
this is
evidently.
true.
With
There's
this.
sound. There is sound. Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, I hate every single part of this.
Let it play. It might change your mind later. It might be different.
British.
Right.
All right, two main issues. First of all, live vivid.
Live vivid.
There's a lot of adverbs that should have been used that were not.
Live vivid, dude.
Which bothers me every single day in normal life, and especially bothers me here. And also, copy nothing.
Don't you mean every single day? Okay. Can I tell you, Jaguar revealed this yesterday.
Yeah.
They also deleted all of their previous social media posts and posted this. Like, their whole Instagram they deleted every post, like post by post. Like, they hired some dude to delete overnight. Like, and nobody noticed because Jaguar. And then they post this, like the morning.
Yeah.
Right. It's on Twitter. It was on all the places.
Yeah, I saw the news. I just hadn't bothered to watch the video. And
Well, now you've seen it. That was
go
all
back
it was.
in time.
It was enormously criticized.
As
Yeah.
one can imagine.
Okay. I got a different take.
Of course.
You loved it.
I didn't love it, but like, it ain't working. What's been happening the last 100 years?
Certainly
Do
true.
you get what I'm saying? Like, this is the worst of the worst car company. Like being totally honest, they could leave
there.
tomorrow and no one would really.
They aren't selling cars this
They're
year.
literally not selling cars this year.
Right.
They're
I
like
agree that
25. Nah.
They can only go up. Like, regardless of what they do, they can only go
don't
up.
know,
I
man.
think it's stupid and insane, but like, the previous, you remember in the past when they were trying to sell cars using normal marketing with normal
Yeah.
cars? That didn't work.
Stakes
they didn't
are
sell
low.
cars.
Stakes are. Although they actually had
Stakes are low, yeah.
They actually had some great years when they first released the XF and the XJ and the X.
Nice.
The F pace, but then they released no new cars for a decade.
There was,
Turns
that
out
was
that
one of the
also
issues.
impacted.
But I think also just the brand has gotten stale. No one really knows what it's supposed to be. Then they tried to pivot to electric with one electric car.
And now they've pivoted to cosmetics. Like, it's really difficult.
It's weird as hell and not good, but like, and everybody's pissed online. This is not Jaguar.
Oh,
This
I
is
don't
not
care
what
about that.
Jaguar is supposed to be. And it's like, I think that's the point,
Well,
guys.
that's
Because
right.
I think what Jaguar is supposed to be has kind of continuously failed for my entire lifetime. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not exaggerating.
Yeah.
They did that music video with Sting and that guy who killed somebody. And I just
Bond
feel
movies is Jag. That's it.
there was that too. Madonna did one with the green XKR.
Oh, really?
There was
I was thinking a little bit more recently.
When Ford owned Jag, there was a Bond movie where there was a Ford owned Aston Martin, there was a Vanquish, there was an XKR which Ford owned, and
Yep.
then there was a Thunderbird in that same movie.
I remember the Thunderbird.
It was
vividly.
red, pinkish red.
Also, like in all of them, M drives around in an XJ, all the more recent ones. But what does this mean?
It means that there's something new coming. I'm not going to defend it. I think it's stupid too, but I also think, like, let's just kind of let them do it.
is
Because for
there
the first
something
time
new
in
coming?
automotive history, people are talking about Jaguar. People have not talked about Jaguar this much since the E-Type was shown at the Paris Motor Show in 1959,
Right,
and people were beating down Stephen Jaguar's door to hand him deposits. I'm not kidding. Like, am I wrong?
No.
You're not Rue. And the other thing about this is, like, they knew they had to do something inflammatory.
Yeah.
And realistically, the only way to get people to talk about it is to be negative. The Cybertruck was kind of that way. It worked and we talked about that for 9 months.
Right.
Here we are talking about this. So it was
If they
successful in
just
that
did
regard.
some like video with like black lights and like Jaguar and then a picture of the leaping cat,
wouldn't be
no
in it.
one would say a
The
thing.
difference is that nobody's going to talk about this starting tomorrow.
Well, we're talking
they
about
had
it today.
3 days.
Right. Well, they keep rolling this stuff. I think the next
Will
update
they?
comes December 2nd is
Will
when
there
they
be-
said
oh,
there's going to be
wow.
the next update.
What does
on
that
this.
mean? Like
no one
another 30
knows.
seconds?
That's the
They're
point.
going to reveal a new
Filippo, if
car
we-
at an art show.
At least a new car would be notable.
some fashion exhibit in Berlin is what this whole thing looked like.
Will it,
It
be,
does.
a new, will it be a new car?
Very, yeah.
Is there actually a new car in
There's a new
development?
concept car. Look, I think my point is just, I think it's stupid, just like everybody else thinks it's stupid. But like, this company is bad. They are not succeeding. And that for the first time, people are talking about them. And so, like, I'm going to let it play out.
Well, hey,
I'm just going to let it play out and see what happens.
They took that break to go teach skiing, between college, and they're experimenting with stuff.
And they're experimenting, yeah.
And look at this guy. He's excited about it.
You think, here's what I don't get.
This guy's thrilled.
First of
Yeah.
all, Jaguar should learn to copy a lot of things if they want to be good. First of all, copy nothing. wrong model fit. But much more important than that, like they spent surely millions on this video and on this reveal.
Well,
where they revealed nothing.
Did they spend millions?
Yes.
Let me counterpoint. All they did was two things. They hired these folks, who I bet are not busy, to walk.
Yeah.
Right? These clothes can't be expensive. She's wearing like a garbage bag kind of situation. This is a rug. And they deleted all their social media posts, which
Right.
you and I could have done in an hour. If they
Right.
were going to spend millions, I would have done it. I would have done that for $800,000.
There's no doubt that they spent millions on this campaign. Okay. And I just don't like Scout, which is a brand that is a revival of an old brand that nobody's talked about in a century.
Yeah.
Did a big reveal. They got a ton of earned media by showing cars.
Yes.
Turns out that if you show cars that people might be interested in,
but
you can get
you're missing
media
the point.
coverage.
Jaguar's going to do that too.
Are they?
But they've already
they?
captured our attentions. Now everybody's sitting here. Everybody who complained about this is sitting here thinking, "What the hell are these guys going to do?"
No, because
You're thinking that.
This doesn't have the staying power.
Yeah.
And
I
it
mean,
won't-
he is.
No car will connect to this ad campaign unless it's a Golf Harlequin.
Maybe
That's
it'll
the
be.
only
Maybe
one.
they'll do
Maybe
a
it'll
Golf
be a
Harlequin.
Harlequin.
Maybe.
Maybe
an
they'll do
I-Pace.
a XJ220 revival.
No, that'd be cool. I don't
It'll
know.
be electric. It'll be. I don't know what. Like, it doesn't-
Maybe it was in
I
the
just
video
don't
we
get
didn't
yet.
see it. Maybe it was that
Watch it
pink
again.
rock.
Watch it again. Go back.
Maybe that's what it was.
Look, I think that you're all missing the point.
How many views does this unlisted video have?
It's
It is unlisted.
What?
4.9
4.9
thousand. So they're
Oh,
very
well, most
successful
people
ad
didn't watch
campaign.
it on YouTube.
Right,
I
it was
watched
on-
it on other platforms.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it on YouTube yet.
But I mean, it could have. I mean, maybe that's it.
Create exuberantly.
Oh.
Creately exuberant.
No, that's
They
not. That's not.
apologize.
If only it had said either of those things.
Is that a tire? Wait, go back. Here, go back to the. She's wearing a tire. That's a clue. Look, all I'm saying is, people are hating this. I get why they're hating it. It's really stupid. But I think it has gotten our attention in a way that Jaguar has not gotten our attention in a long time. And I think there are marketers out there who are like, yeah, that was the plan. And now you're curious. Admit it. If they had just done a stupid, boring campaign, you'd be like, Jaguar, whatever.
Had they come
now
out
you're
and
curious.
said, we're changing a lot of our tact. Here's our new design language. Here's the direction we're going to go in.
But that's
I
what
would have been more
Filippo
effective.
would do. And Filippo only
But
does like the
who
basics.
Who buys Jaguars if not people like Filippo?
But the point is, they want new people. They want people like Kennan. Right now, they got people like you.
Well, they're going to reveal a city-sized luxury EV, probably.
I want to see an electric XJ220.
I
Would've
want
been
to
a
see an
better
electric
powertrain.
rock because that's what I think we might be getting here, or
That
whatever cosmetics they
woman
come out
was
with.
wearing a tire. I'm just saying.
So we
and this
know
fellow
they're
looks like a
not
road worker.
floating.
So maybe it's a construction vehicle.
AA yellow.
Yellow. Okay, so we got to move on from Jaguar, and we must move to
Jaguar.
Jaguar. Now, this is apparently this is going to be the car that they announced.
So a car exists.
They're going to release it at Miami Art Week, which is
Cool.
in a couple of weeks.
Which, as we all know, is the beginning of December.
You know, I'm sure you've been there a bunch of times.
Haven't been, but dream of it.
That's the point, though. They're going to show this thing. It's called the Jaguar Design Vision Concept, and apparently the goal is to bring the Jaguar brand upscale. They're talking about $100,000 plus EVs.
Here's the thing: the Jaguar brand was upscale.
No,
and
no,
they,
no.
They spent 20 years moving to less premium.
They regret
Or
that.
premium instead of luxury.
They
Yeah.
regret the fact that
I
they
would
came
too.
out with the E-Pace at a $299 lease deal,
And that they
as
didn't
long
name it
as
the
you walked in
I-Pace.
with a mop as a trade-in.
What do you think XE lease deals are?
The car's,
20?
That car's long gone. We don't think about the X anymore. We got a new thing.
Got a new thing, and it looks like it could be cool.
It could be cool.
Looks like a
But
Chrysler
who-
300 wagon to me.
Yeah, but that
Which
was cool. That
with,
was cool.
with new 7 Series front.
It
front
does
end.
look like if you pop this off, this is a Chrysler
Kind
300.
of, yeah.
Maybe they're going to come back with
If
the
you
Chrysler
bemoan
300.
the loss of the Chrysler 300,
I
turns
do
out there's a
bemoan.
$250,000 thing.
Like who?
You think it's going to be 250?
If they're really trying to move upscale like Bentley, yeah. it
The
will be.
goal is to move up market. 100,000 plus is kind of what's been floated. I don't know about Bentley, but
Bentley is-
100,000 plus.
Here's what I don't
Bold.
get. Okay, go back a slide because this is their new logo.
Their new
font.
logo. The G is uppercase.
That's a good point.
The J might be.
Might be.
The rest is
But
not.
the rest is not.
The U could be, to be fair.
Yeah.
Jaguar, okay, when you think luxury, especially in the US, you think British brands.
Yeah.
They've un-Britishified
Dude,
all of their history.
You're missing the point, and I think a lot of low effort
everybody
Instagram
will be missing the
commenters are
point.
missing the point too.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's what they're trying to do. They're untethering from their previous reputation completely, and they're going to Miami Art Week with a GT car that's going to cost $200,000 and be electric, and they got a lowercase a.
Right, they're trying to move
Right.
out of Coventry and into London. That's the kind of move they want to
Yeah,
go for.
it's
They want it to
fair.
be more
Yeah.
modern and
And
cool.
that looks like
British
every
as
like
I think they're trying to move out of Coventry into like Prague or Berlin, something
yeah.
like that, something a little edgier.
edgy. Yeah, exactly.
for
But
all
I
the
like-
edgy people in Berlin that have 100,000+ euro.
Well, there are a couple of wealthy people in Berlin.
I think that this looks like maybe they're going to make refrigerators.
Oh, I was
looks
thinking
like
like
1950s
a
refrigerator.
mid-scale hotel.
No, it looks like a garage door in an
All
industrial
plausible
area.
things, by the way.
You're
We don't
missing
know.
the point. That's what they're trying to do. They want to get your attention. Okay, we've spent way too long on this. I'm moving off
So
Jaguar.
much
What's our
Jaguar.
next
Right,
news
our next
story?
story. Speaking of Jaguar,
What is this?
so this is kind of an interesting Restomod thing. So TWR, Tom Walkinshaw Racing, is making a tribute to the XJS, a very.
You didn't know that?
Of course, he didn't know that.
Yeah, cool.
Filippo, go back to sleep. This car is going to be called the Super Cat. But it is cool. So it has a supercharged 5.6-liter V12, 660 horsepower, and 6-speed manual transmission.
This isn't. It's not the V12 that was in it before. It's some.
Maybe in cylinder count only, but it's
looks so
It's been
cool.
pretty beefed up, one might say, and man, the presentation is beautiful. But in addition to that, like the body obviously is pretty extreme. Full carbon body. It's 20 centimeters wider than the normal car.
I mean, look at those flares.
I know, and it weighs substantially less too. This thing weighs 3,500 pounds compared
For
to
a
the
V12
original
car,
was,
it's legit.
was 3,900 pounds, and they weren't trying to save
And they were
weight.
light at the time.
Yeah,
for the time.
exactly. So another notable thing about the design, Magnus Walker and Kaisa Salim worked on the design of this particular car, and so which again, Magnus Walker known for Porsches, so kind of unusual they
And
chose him
design,
to.
though. I mean,
I
he
mean,
had
I
the-
guess,
the
but when you
brand.
think him, I think long hair Porsches. That's what I think of. Like that's what.
And
I
now you
think
think
of.
V12
And now
powered
evidently,
Restomods.
TWR thinks that he should help with this.
I think it's cool as hell.
It's very cool. So
Of all the resto mods, and almost all of them have been like yawners, like singer. This is cool. Yeah.
But yes, it's going to cost $285,000 American dollars.
That's not that insane.
No.
And they're going to build 88. I think what that means is they're going to attempt to build 88, and they're allegedly going to start delivering them in 2025.
285,000?
Yeah, 285.
That's
Sign
not
up.
that insane. That's a cool
It's a
looking
lot for an
car.
XJS.
It's a cool looking car.
I can't
but
get an
it's not
XJ220
really nice.
for that money. You got to stick V12 for 285? Huh?
But
I like it. Does it have a warranty? I'm interested if it has a warranty.
But evidently, Matt Farah got to hear this thing recently, and he said on Instagram that it sounds like a Mercy when you start it, and he actually seemed pretty excited about the car. So I'm kind of curious. I'm sure we'll see it at Car Week and stuff like that. But
I think it's cool as hell. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. Every man knows the unbeatable finish of a fresh barbershop shave. Now, what if I told you that you no longer have to wait weeks or even months between appointments to experience it? You may have noticed my recent dabbling with facial hair. Well, like choosing a vehicle, there are many options out there for shaving products. I choose the Manscaped Chairman Pro package, the newest offering from Manscaped. Whether you're after that daily silky smooth finish or you prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, this has you covered. You have the skin-safe 4-blade foil for that close, smooth shave when you're looking to go completely clean. And you have the skin-safe stubble trimmer for when you want to keep a bit of that rugged look. Both heads are designed with skin-safe technology to help reduce razor burn and irritation, so your skin feels smooth and comfortable after every shave, reducing redness or discomfort. Plus, one of my favorite quirks and features of the Chairman Pro is that it's waterproof. Yep, you can use it right in the shower. And it also simplifies cleanup too. Just a quick rinse under the sink and you're all set. Get the Chairman Pro package today and experience a shave that's as smooth as you deserve. It has everything you need to keep your face looking and feeling its best, all in one box. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CARS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CARS at manscaped.com. Okay, next one.
Finally, not Jaguar.
Finally, not
I
Jaguar.
don't want it. This is a boring news. You
I
can
know.
talk about it,
We'll
but very
spend
quickly.
1 minute or less.
Right,
The
ready, go.
current CEO of Volkswagen North America has left. He's now the past CEO as of yesterday, and they have a new CEO who was formerly at Porsche and at Rivian.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. Next story.
All right, we're just getting more and more interesting from here. So you will regret
This
having
is
cut
a
that story
great
short.
story.
All right, this is a Lexus RZ.
Yeah. trash car.
It's the Toyota BZ4X or Super Terra of Lexus.
It's
literally
it's
same car.
better than those two, but that's
But
not saying
it,
much.
it has a
Some of them do.
some of them have a Model S-esque steering wheel.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yo, what's the
A
word?
whisk. What's it called? All right.
Whatever.
Thanks.
Yo, all right. They cut the price of the RZ, the base model, by $11,000. And
Where does it start at?
43.
Oh my God, that's still $28,000 too much.
Yeah, but it is now the same price as a BZ4X. Now, we all assume the BZ4X will have a similar price cut. And of course, the BZ4X at the dealership, out the door, is 20 grand less than what they're asking.
What would it take to get you into a BZ4X? Ugly, poor range, poor performance, like it's just quite bad. What would it take to get you into a BZ4X? By the way, lowercase b, uppercase Z, 4, uppercase X.
Toyota has to bring it to his house.
And
Bring it to his
it
house.
needs to be $20 a month or less. which, by the way, Fiat last week had a lease deal that was about $40 a month.
Wait, you wouldn't do it at $35 a month for a BZ4X?
No. I don't want the hassle. But it is really notable they're cutting the price of $11,000 on a car that came out 2 years ago. And they're matching BZ4X prices, so BZ4X prices are probably also going to fall some amount to
I
make
just
up for
don't
that.
understand. These automakers had Tesla to benchmark. I was at I went to the Lexus RZ launch.
you
They
really?
did here in San
Oh, that's
Diego.
right.
And I just couldn't understand it then. They had Tesla to benchmark. They knew what the benchmark was for range and performance and price tag. And instead they come out with this, whose performance is laughable in comparison. And range, the RZ's range is better. The BZ4X range is trash.
The all-wheel drive BZ4X, the all-wheel drive RZs, the higher trims have less than 200 miles range.
Yeah, but
That's
they
not
had some good horsepower number.
No, that's not
It's like
acceptable.
350 or something.
That's
It's not acceptable. I totally agree.
people will buy them because you go to a Lexus dealership, you want an EV, where are you going to buy this?
And that's the only sales.
Yeah.
Toyota's pursuing this electrification strategy very like they pursue other strategies, which is very slowly and carefully.
Yep.
But the consumers are not. They're buying the best, the nicest, the fastest. And I literally went to I can't remember which automaker told me they had limited the performance of their EV because they didn't want people to be like surprised. And it's like,
No.
this is not how it works. People are expecting 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds for like 40 Gs. It's what Tesla does. As far as I'm concerned, if you can't deliver Tesla level range, performance, pricing, there's no point. There's no point. And none of them can. None of them can. The Mach-E is close, but none of the others
The
can do
Mach-E
it.
is close. The Lucid Air is close to Model S performance and
but
price
it's
point.
expensive as
Yeah.
fook.
Rivians are
Nice.
not that they're similar from Model X. There are competitors in the space. The Ioniq 5
Well, Rivian
is very
there are
close to
some
Model
other
3.
cars that deliver other things
Yeah.
that Tesla doesn't.
And
And
then
Rivian
Ioniq-
is one of them. It can off-road. It looks way better. It's obviously bigger inside.
Ioniq 5 EV6 are in the right
They're
ballpark.
close. Generally speaking, though, a
But
lot of
Tesla
these
still
EVs,
wins a lot
if
of
you
those.
just look at it on paper, it's like, why would I ever consider this trash? That's one of the reasons I think it's so insane that Tesla opened up their charge network to all these other companies,
it's
because
like-
you had this massive advantage and this other massive advantage.
I mean, it's not a mistake in that it's probably good for EV adoption, but it is rough. By the way, this now is about the same price as the basest Lexus NX.
Really? Well, I'd still rather have the NX. With this said, speaking of EVs, yesterday here in the studio, we had some Chinese cars.
Yes.
Automobiles manufactured in China. Their VINs started with L.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't
And-
know the Chinese VINs.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And here's the deal. One of them was a convertible sports car from the storied MG brand.
Can you pull it up, Ken? The MG.
It's called the Cyberster. It is not called the Cybersteer, which is what I thought it was called.
Good catch.
And then also we had the Xiaomi SU7. You,
Yeah.
I'm sure, are well aware of the
I
Xiaomi
am,
SU7.
of course. Jim Farley was driving
This
around.
car was in our office yesterday. Yesterday.
It was so cool. Legitimately.
Is it? Anyway,
Yeah, it was. Wait, can you find a picture of the taillights?
I got to tell you.
Doug did a full video, so everybody will
There
get to
it is.
enjoy it.
I got big videos coming with the SU7, SU7, and the MG
The
Cyberster.
actual air, I have to say, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you, when you said you're going to do these. I actually thought it was pretty cool, to be honest.
It looks good. I've sent the picture to a
It
bunch of
looks
people.
great.
Everyone I sent it to is like, that thing looks good.
And the SU7 also looks good.
The SU7 is what we say
Sure,
in
yeah,
mainland
sorry.
China. And we felt that it looked good also.
Yeah.
We, myself, the party. Anyway, no, legitimately though, there's this perception among American consumers that Chinese cars are kind of, or that Chinese goods are kind of crappy because that we order stuff on Amazon and it's cheap plastic stuff and it comes from China. And we drive these cars. I drove these cars around like San Diego yesterday, and they were great. They drove great. They existed great. They have some great quirks and features.
Well, I thought it was fascinating to look at because we had a Cybertruck in the office last week. Panel gaps not particularly great. Build quality not particularly nice.
Well, this thing stainless steel, man.
Right. Well, that one was gold. But this one, it
was nice.
Was nice.
It was well made.
And I think that
did
speaks
you sit
to.
in it?
I did. It felt nice.
Good. Yeah.
I think one thing to keep in mind, it's amazing how far the Chinese have come in such a short period of time.
Couple years. Xiaomi, the people who brought us the SU7, they were making smartphones in 21, not a single car. Smartphones, 21.
Wow.
Here we are in 24. They got the
SU7.
By the way, that SU7 set the all-time Nürburgring lap record for a four-door car. The SU7 Ultra, which has 1,500 horsepower.
He had the Max here.
I had the Max, which strangely is the mid-range model. Some naming issues.
Well, to be fair, Apple has the same naming structure with their chips.
Oh,
M4,
it was a time to the
Pro,
smartphone
M4
heritage.
Ultra,
Well,
M4
and that's, by the way, when we got the spec list, which was sent to us not on Google Docs, but on Faishu Docs, I'm sure you know.
Oh, very familiar.
A lot of the specs, it's talks about processor. Like, you know how you would send a spec list for a Lincoln and it would be like 28-inch screen and V6 and all-wheel drive. Yeah. This was like 2800 Boobleflob Qualcomm processor. And I'm like, okay. Wow, I didn't realize that was part of a car.
Dang, it had the Boobleflob.
It had a 2800 Boobleflob.
Wow, overclocked.
Obviously.
Now, the other point I want to make with that is, yes, they've come up very quickly, but also this comes from a nation that is very good at manufacturing. They have really honed their processes, so it's not really a surprise that things are well put together and the panel gaps are tight, and they seem to figure that out very, very quickly.
Also, the Chinese government, as part of a lot of manufacturing, required there to be joint partnerships. And so whenever any manufacturer started building cars in China for the Chinese market or otherwise, it was actually part of a joint manufacturing effort.
I don't want to
they took a lot of those learnings.
I don't want to get into the politics.
Yeah.
Because I don't want Filippo to cry, and I don't want Kennan to tell us about how Emily's dad was there on January 6th.
He was not there.
But Emily doesn't exist. He was there in my mind. But I will say these cars are heavily tariffed, and they're probably not going to come to the U.S. Yeah. Even my beloved SU7, not even the SU5, not even the Souffle, will make it to the U.S. But
it's such a long episode.
When you think about the Koreans and how they were able to make the strides, Hyundai came to the U.S. in '86, Kia came in '95. Within 15 years, they were there.
25.
It took Volkswagen 65 years to make products that are acceptable, and I would argue they're still not. Have you been in an Atlas Cross Sport? And but the Chinese are already caught up. It's amazing how quickly this happened. Part of it is they don't have to go through the trouble of developing engines,
which makes a huge difference.
And the thing that's successful for these cars is tech, and they can do tech. Tech is pretty easy to do. And the Cyberstore had 18 screens.
Right. How was the driving experience?
It was okay.
I know you'll talk about it way more
I'll talk about it more in depth in my review video coming to the Doug DeMuro. It was okay. It was pretty. The handling was pretty good considering it weighs 4,000 pounds. The steering got light at high speeds. It clearly, the Chinese are not known for high performance vehicles or for Trek. They don't have a lot of Chinese F1 drivers.
Plus, MG obviously has never made a car with power. So
unusual.
There's one, but think about Brazil gave us Senna. Brazil gave us Senna. The
true.
Brazilians know how to tune handling.
Also, right, they build a lot of fast cars in Brazil.
We know about the Brazilian auto industry. Heck yeah.
Oh yeah.
People are going to be like, there is a Brazilian auto industry and there's 19 cars and they're really great. People are going to get so mad that we just did that. By the way, you know what Brazilian VINs start with?
No.
9.
Wow.
Okay, we are talking cars. We've already moved on to the next segment.
Since you brought up the Volkswagen Atlas, I was thinking last night, legitimately, I was thinking about this last night as I was walking the dog. Are you familiar with Volkswagen's SUV naming scheme?
Okay,
there's the T in Europe. There's the T-Roc.
T-Roc,
the Taos,
Tiguan. What about it?
Why doesn't Atlas start with a T?
Because it's not sold in Europe. It's sold in America.
So it's only for the European markets that they care about the T's?
Apparently. Do you know what Tiguan, where they got that name?
Isn't it some wind?
No. Tig for tiger, and iguan, because in Germany, in German, leguan apparently is the term for iguana. Tiger, iguana, put them together, tiguan. I'm not excited. I'm not making this up.
That's true. Verifiable.
This is real.
But then why isn't the Atlas the Tatlas? Or the
The
T-Atlas?
Atlas would have been actually good.
Right.
I would probably like it better.
Yeah.
Okay, Kennan, tell us your Talk Cars story of the day.
Yes. So your favorite YouTuber,
My favorite YouTuber.
WhistlinDiesel,
Harry's girl. Yes, Whistling.
second favorite YouTuber,
Good old Cody.
bought a car recently, and it happens to be a car that we have had some feelings about, and the market has as well, and that is the Ferrari SF90. So he bought a matte black Ferrari SF90.
Whistling bought an SF90, and he posted on Instagram. He's all proud of his SF90. And I
For good
love
reason.
Whistling dearly, obviously. Pull up the Whistling. Can you do that? Oh, no, we can't pull up Instagram here, right? No. Yeah. I love Whistling dearly. He's a dear, dear friend of mine. We've texted twice. Both times I texted him and said, oh, my God, Whistling, I love you. And he said, who is
Thanks.
this? Who is this guy? Please, I'm busy. And I said, no, Whistling, it's me, Doug. I love you. Okay, fine. Anyway.
He just liked it.
Yeah, he put a thumbs up. But he bought an SF90, which we're not fans of here on the
No
pod.
single human.
No, people bought. There's people who spent $600,000-700,000 for
And there's then people that
SF90s.
have spent
There's
400
some
for the
great
same car.
calls to dealerships. I said on Instagram that people are losing hundreds
The
of thousands of dollars.
SF90.
Yeah.
It was like a 700 car with got a lot of options. What's it worth now? Could I trade if
4.
I had a 1-to-1 for Toyota Goat? Would people do it?
I think people would be in
The
a
right
position-
person would.
Yeah. So
Just take over payments.
Oh, they would be thrilled by that
There's
outcome.
probably a lot of people out there who are just going to walk away from these
I mean,
things. and
even
abandon them.
in August, this one on our site was bid to 488.
You got
Now,
a sticker on that?
Now you figure I have. Let's see if we do. You
I think
have
there
to-
was in that one.
What is that sticker?
Yeah.
Oh,
667, and this was time when
What year
dealers
is
were
it?
21. So dealers were gouging people for.
It was a 21, this car?
Yeah.
What was the mileage?
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah,
2,600
2,600.
miles. This car lost $300,000
200,
in
but yeah.
26. No, wasn't it a 650 sticker?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yes, so you're
due
right.
to
Two-
the
200.
math.
You
But
did the
time,
math.
But
So
dealers were asking
200
a lot over at the time
Yeah.
too. I mean,
$200,000 in 2,600 miles.
I
and
had,
there are more egregious examples.
I
there
heard
are more
dealers
egregious
brag at the time about how they sold one for $890 or $900, and it was, and yeah, they're worth in a
Yikes
lot
on
of
a
cases.
stick.
And
It's-
again, this was in August. They have depreciated substantially more.
You know
since
what's
then.
funny about this? We're talking about Whistling. We're now on the SF90, but let's roll with it.
Well,
Ferrari for years sat on the sidelines of this market, like the $600,000, $700,000 car, like something above the sports cars, the 430 and the 458. Like they
But
sat
below the supercars.
but below the supercars, and they only had the front engine V12s, which while we loved them, were not like for the kind of person who would buy one of the sports cars but wanted something more. There was nothing available
Yeah.
for him,
You
right?
wouldn't be when you say you'd be a connoisseur.
Right. They finally come out with one at the worst possible time, and they don't limit the production.
It's
And
not
what a
just that
shame.
it was a bad time; it's that it wasn't an attractive product.
Part of the mystique and desirability of expensive Ferraris is that they're limited production and you can flip them. And I think this car has taught Ferrari an interesting lesson, which is the demand for the 599 SA Aperta. The reason those cars were selling for $1 million in the aftermarket is not because a lot of people wanted a 599 SA Aperta. It's because there were 30 of them. And with that level of scarcity creates this interest and this mystique. There ain't 30 of these. There's 30 at every exotic car lot.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yep.
That is true. 75, by the way. But nonetheless,
There's 75 SA
75.
Apertas.
Yeah.
Does anyone have genuine interest in this car, except for it can help them get on the list for the next special projects car, or it can, you know what I'm saying? Like, is there actually an interest in this car? Not at the price point.
I think there were a number of things that led them to being. We'll get back to WhistlinDiesel in a second, but there are a number of things that led to this car to appreciate. One is that it's very difficult to distinguish it to people from the F8, which was in production at the same time.
They look the same.
They look
Yep.
the same,
And the
except this
296
costs
looks
twice as
better.
much.
The 296 looks
296
better.
looks better, yeah.
Okla, I am dead serious about this. Dead serious. People are going to, on the comments, like, you didn't mean that. I would rather have a 296 than an SF90. I swear. Because at this performance level, it doesn't, they're doing 0 to 60 like 2.5 seconds. I'm good. That's enough for me.
It's like a 200 horsepower difference,
I swear
that's not-
the 296 looks better. I swear it
Agreed.
looks better.
And of course, the fear with this car is like the LaFerrari, like was the hybrid before it. You got to imagine that Ferrari will not support the technology of this car at all.
Right.
And so like the battery stuff, I'm sure that will be problematic for owners in the future. And so like I think people are worried about that. And it's at this weird transitional time when people want the last of Ferraris, they want the last NAV12 Ferrari, and like they're scrambling for that. And this is the next generation.
There'll
People
be other
aren't as excited
hybrid
about
V8
that.
Ferraris, yeah.
But it is fascinating that it has depreciated so much to the point where WhistlinDiesel has bought one, and we can only imagine.
Okay, so that's the question. Is Whistling
gonna
going to
do.
destroy it? Obviously, we hope so.
We hope so.
And so do SF90 owners, because that's one less. The problem is they're churning out like 4 a day, so you'd need like many Whistlins.
Right.
Like, is there a Euro Whistlin who destroys
Hey,
stuff?
man, if the video does well, maybe he'll do another one.
In Europe, though, I don't think you're allowed to destroy things. I think like there's rules, like regulations. Yeah.
Right, but not for WhistlinDiesel. And,
No, in Tennessee, you can destroy whatever you want.
and
Bury it in the yard.
And so if he does a great video series of destroying this thing, and maybe it goes up in flames in a field, he might actually be someone who is able to make money on one of these cars and not lose hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The first person who ever made money on an SF90 aside from the Ferrari dealer. Can I posit you something? Do you know that Whistlin said at 10 million subs he would get a Bugatti?
Dang.
How many subs
How much
does he have
subs
right
does he
now?
have now?
I don't know, but if you're not subbed, do it. If you're folks out there, if you're not subbed to Whistlin, you go sub to him now so he blows up a Bugatti.
He
Get
is
out
at
there.
8.5.
8.5. He's getting
Getting
there.
close.
He's getting there.
He's getting close.
I will say, he burned down an F8,
Sub.
right? That was the car.
Sub. Who's signed in on this? You sub right now, right? To him. Go, click.
Uh,
Sub, Kennan.
I'll
It's
come back. I am
Whistlin.
subbed personally.
What is this? This is like a Cars and Bids computer?
Yeah.
Sub for Cars and Bids supports Whistlin.
There.
He has personally owned cool cars, though, right? Like he doesn't destroy all of them.
I don't know.
He had like a
I don't
Huracan
know.
or something, right?
He had a Huracan that, he had a Huracan.
That's a
Didn't he
nice
get from
Ford.
TJ Hunt? That
Yes,
Huracan?
he did.
Who
we
we
know.
also love. I love TJ. Okay, we got any other Talk Cars segments?
Yes, so we're coming to the end of the year. It's getting colder, and that means we're looking forward to next year. And I've started to look forward
It's
to autumn.
65. It's 70 degrees today.
Well, in
In
other
parts of the country,
places,
it's bigger than San Diego. In case you've forgotten, man, he's lived here for like 2 years, and he's already forgotten about the
He's
other parts
from
of the country.
Wisconsin.
weather.
He's
Yeah,
from Wisconsin.
And he's like wearing a hoodie because it's 64 degrees and he's cold.
You know what I
Well,
think?
no,
of-
because they want to advertise their merch.
You know what
which
I-
is for sale at
for
merch.carsfood.com.
GT. You know,
That's so
it
embarrassing.
is when he grew up in Wisconsin, he had to walk around with the name Filippo, and I bet he just wants to block that out.
Yeah, do you just go by Phil?
What do I go by now?
Well, you go by Filippo, but in California, people are a
Yeah,
little bit
more
more accepting of
acceptable.
people named Filippo.
right.
Like as a 13-year-old in Wisconsin, I bet people were like,
What
I
up,
bet
Phil?
there was some stuff.
Phil, I'm calling you Phil.
Yeah.
Happened more than
Okay,
once.
so anyway, the
Yeah,
New
so I
Year's
started to
coming.
look forward to events, and now is when you start to book stuff at events because it kind of books up quickly. So my friends and I, every year I go to Amelia Island. I haven't missed it except for 2020. I haven't missed it the last like 7 or 8 years. Love going to Amelia Island. Can't wait to go this year.
You're going to Amelia.
Yeah, going to Amelia
Can I
for
come?
sure. Of course. You won't. But you
Why
can.
not?
Because
It's
it's
March,
in,
right?
It's in Florida. Yeah. yeah.
I do not like Florida.
It's
and by the
far.
way, to all the Floridians out there, love Florida.
Right.
No, I mean, I would if I went, like, I'd go see
Actually-
Tavares and pop in on that.
That was the first time I ever got to see you wear a suit.
Yeah, I was a
I ran
judge at
into you.
Amelia one year.
And a Miura caught fire driving up to get its award.
I awarded an award to a Lamborghini Miura. This is what happened. Okay, you want me to tell the story?
Yeah, I was there. I watched it happen.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Hoovy and Tavares and I
Yeah.
were judges at Amelia Island one
Sure.
year. And the category we were judging, Amelia and a lot of these concours events are trying to appeal to younger people. And the category we were judging was called like the car that would do best on YouTube or something. And I lived in Georgia at the time. I was thrilled to go down there. It was easy to go to Jacksonville. And so I did that. Hoovy was there. Tavares and I, we all wore suits. We all judged. And we awarded the award to a Cadillac DeVille limousine that the Pope was supposed to ride in on a visit to Latin America, but he did not.
But still, damn.
Now, the limousine was owned by the Peterson Museum, who declined the award, which actually is a wonderful thing because Peterson doesn't need awards. But the second place car was owned personally by a guy, and so he was going to win the award. That's really cool. Like Peterson, we don't need the Pope car, doesn't need an award. Later, by the way, I tried to review the Pope car, and they're like, nah, that thing was blessed. You're not allowed to. I swear to God. So anyway, I swear. So anyway, we awarded to a Miura. The Miura is driving up on stage because all the cars have to drive up on stage to collect the award. And as it's driving up, first off, we were supposed to present in the middle, and our award kept getting pushed back and back and back because the Miura wouldn't start. Finally, they're about to award Best in Show, and it's like, our award's got to go up. Like, it can't go after Best in Show. Yeah. And they get the Miura started, and it's driving up onto the stage, and it catches on fire, as Miuras do. Well, Balboni is there. And so Balboni runs over, and he's like fanning it. He's got like a jacket. He's like fanning the flames on this Miura that's on fire. And I'm sitting there thinking, this was what it was like in Sant'Agata in 1967. I'm watching a flashback. Valentino Balboni is trying to put out a fire on a Miura. This happened.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. It wasn't his first time. But then he also like continued, and then he worked on it. Like Jaguar was like in there like working on something. It was incredible to watch. Like
The car never made it up on
and of course,
the stage.
this is in like when you're at Amelia Island for this particular thing. There's like it's like cordoned off. Like there are just like rows of seats to sit in to watch this happen.
Right.
Like it's a big event,
It's a
and
big- yeah.
everybody is there watching it. And this poor car caught fire.
After a big resto, too, I heard later. Anyway,
yeah.
what?
Will award it.
I don't know. I think he did get the award. Yeah.
He deserved it.
But boy, was that must have been so embarrassing and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
But you get a great
Experience in my
story.
life.
How many people have had Valentino? Well,
How
before
many
it was
people
delivered.
have had Balboni blow on their car? Yeah, no, a lot that don't know. Probably me.
You maybe.
Okay, but anyway, your point is
Bam,
there's shows.
Yeah, going to Amelia for sure. Debating going to Scottsdale, which is in January, which is a little bit earlier, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that.
I would like
but
to.
definitely going to Car Week next year. Already booked a house
Wow.
with my friends.
You're
so
on top of it.
We're ready to go. Yeah.
You gotta be.
You have to be.
Right.
That thing about like
Last year, you
these
guys
big
booked the
events
house
is
the
like,
week before you went, but yeah.
well, sometimes you luck out, but not always. And in this particular case, we got more of where we want to stay in Carmel and all that stuff.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm starting to look forward to more events. And there are other ones I'd like to do. I would love to figure out a way to go to the Bridges in the Hamptons. Seems like an incredible event. Would love to be able to attend that at some stage. But
How
there are a
about
couple.
cars and caffeine and carburetors in New Canaan? Will you
You've
go with
been.
me to that? I've never been to that.
You haven't been?
No,
to
it's always I'm always on Nantucket. I don't want to go to Connecticut for that. I would love to.
If you could find out, if you could get over to Connecticut, I'd
I
go
know.
with
I
you.
ought to do it. It's like an amazing event. It's like a very casual cars and coffee, but like McLaren F1s show up.
Yep.
Like it's
Dang.
it's the craziest casual cars and coffee in existence because they only hold like 3 a year, like the spring, the summer, and the fall.
Yeah.
And so unlike like a weekly one, like big stuff shows up to that.
You know, the other one that's getting kind of is the Audrain. The Audrain Museum in Rhode Island does a
Yeah.
concours every year, and that's starting to really take off.
Last year, you went and filmed at their museum, although the Cars and Coffee
2
was
years
canceled,
ago, it got
unfortunately.
rained out, unfortunately.
You know
so
what
I
I'd
didn't
love
get
to do
attend,
one year is
but
Goodwood.
Great people. this year.
I got a list. I got to make a list of car events I want to go to. Another one, honestly, is Detroit Woodward. Woodward is cool.
Oh, Woodward, yeah.
It's
oh,
the
yeah.
same week as Pebble, though, is the problem.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
tough.
I would rather go to Pebble. But Woodward, just on a normal Saturday night, Woodward is cool as hell. And I'm sure during the Dream Cruise, it's really cool. Goodwood would be cool to go to.
Yep.
Goodwood, yeah, Revival and Festival of Speed are both on my list. Not for this year, but I would like to get to those eventually.
Monaco GP.
This past
Monaco
year you went-
GP, Historics, Monaco Historics, Le Mans Classic is another one I'd
Yeah.
really like to go to. There are a bunch, but for right now, for this year, definitely going to Amelia, definitely going to Car Week. and I
So
might
if you're
tack on
going
some
to
more.
Amelia or to Car Week, look for Kennan.
Yeah.
He'll be
Come up
there.
and say hello. I don't bite.
He'll talk E39 M5 with you. If you've got an E39 M5, if you want an E39 M5, if you want to just hear Kennan do his thing and talk about the E39 M5.
Or talk about, or we're talking about Ferraris.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He'll talk about
I like a
other
lot of
topics.
other cars. I just happen to really love the M5.
He'll talk about other stuff too, but we'd all prefer to talk about the E39 M5. On that subject, we must move on to the market report, which is brought to you by Cars and Bids app. We have an app. Did you know we have an app? Did you know?
I didn't. I did know.
We got tons of downloads on this
We
app.
do
We
have
don't
a
even need to
ton of
sell
great
it anymore
reviews.
because the
You're right.
whole
You know
world
what we
has
should
it.
talk about instead? We have a video series right now.
We got a video
where
series.
Doug bought a car. He bought a new Doug car. Ken and I also bought vehicles. Nick showed up, as did a Versa.
Nick's the only one who actually bought a car.
And we went out to
His
the
own
desert.
money.
Earlier this week, a video went live where we did some challenges that Doug ideated that were a little bit evil. And then next week, it'll be the final
We got a video
from
series
it.
where we got cars. Sean's looking at me. Why? We got a video series where we took cars to the desert and it was amazing.
It was legitimately
The
a
next
great
episode
time.
is going to be even better because
I drag race a Corvette. Like I am in a Corvette and I drag race other people.
Boom! It's
Including
great.
a Nissan
Watch
Versa.
it, and if you haven't watched it yet, I don't like you.
Also,
I don't like who you
why
are.
did we do all of this, Doug?
We did it because we got merch now.
Yeah.
Merch.carsandbids.com. You too could wear a gray shirt with gray pants. What do you have, Kennan?
I've got the Countach shirt on, which is one of my.
shirt?
I don't know if that angle.
LP5000. It should be LP5000S, but we'll move on.
and then I have a Carrera GT hoodie.
Courage GT, Filippo. Could you imagine Filippo wearing Courage
But
GT
there's also
merch?
great hats.
It's
there are
unbelievable.
keychains.
right.
And also every dollar you spend on the merch store gets
enters you into the possibility of winning one of the cars from our Desert Car Challenge series. You could win Filippo's C6 Corvette.
You could.
Okay, this
You
ad
should.
was way too long. It was not intended to be an ad. You can also ignore all that and just listen to the pod. The next, I want to talk about the SC430. Pull it up.
Yeah, strong sale.
Pull it up. Pull it up! We sold an SC430 for 48,000 United States dollars. This really happened. This is, by the way, this was a pre-facelift SC430. If you're in the SC430 community, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. I again want to state that all the enthusiasts who lined up around the original Lexus SC being like, it's a driftmobile, it has a 2JZ, they did a V8, were all outshone by old people who prefer this, and the market loves this car.
Loves a 7,000 mile version, yes.
It had low miles, but these sell for big money still.
They
this
do.
sold for 50.
I know.
Gee, do you know what IS250C sells for?
Right.
$9
Well, it doesn't have a V8.
a song.
Doesn't have a V8 that makes 280 horsepower. How much?
290.
In my head, it was 290, but I decided to cut it down.
300.
Oh,
That
damn.
was big boy.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow.
Well, there is demand for these, and there has been for a long time.
Yes.
When I worked at that exotic car dealership, you actually wrote for Auto Trader, and you wrote an article on one of our cars, which had, I think it was like 151 miles, if memory serves me. I mean, and the guy who bought it emailed us, and he was like, I have one with, it was a very weird email. He said, I have one with 26,000 miles. It's worn out, and I want to get a new one. I can't anymore, so I
They
bought
don't
this.
sell it anymore, so
and so he
here
bought
I
it
am.
from us. Yeah.
No way.
And went to Florida.
it's
Of course it did.
It's a cool. I mean,
Where
a
was
lot
this
of
one?
it's a cool
California,
car.
it looks like.
Santa
Yeah,
Barbara.
Santa Barbara.
Of course it was.
What color? Is it black or is it purple? I can't
Dude,
tell.
purple.
I just
Ooh,
want to
Twilight
say,
Amethyst.
legitimately, these SC430s are insane. It's unbelievable how much they sell for. And not the 2JZ powered rear-wheel drive sporty SC market is hot. The SC430 old guy market is hot. I remember when this car came out, and I was a kid. It was like 2002. And people were so mad. Car enthusiasts on the forums were like, they ruined the Lexus SC. Yeah, ruined it so much they created a giant market of people who love them.
Top Gear's worst car ever, right?
Top
Yeah, worst car in the world
Everybody
ever.
laughed at it because it was such a bad departure from the. This is just a great example of how car enthusiasts have no clue that what the general public is looking for.
And also, cars are old, like old E320 cabriolets, Mercedes E320 cabriolets, also worth surprising money. Like there's demand for
Big
regular.
four-door, comfortable, reliable.
The E320,
big
famously a
4-seat.
four-door car, as is SC430.
And this one, you could technically say you have a 430 convertible. You know?
Oh, damn, you got a 430 Spider.
And then that shows up, and it's like, well, all right.
I will also say we think that this, or we know that this is the highest public sale of an SC430.
What about when it was new and they cost 70 grand?
Public sale in an auction, secondary auction market. I don't know. What do you
More
want to say?
niche.
No, but you're right. It's,
like
it's a
recent
strong
history,
number. And
it's a
speaking of
strong
strong
sale.
numbers, we got a record for
The AutoZam AZ1.
AZ1.
And the best part of this is that we got a record for the AutoZam AZ1. The last time this
Twice.
same AZ1
So
Same
sold.
this AZ1 just sold for 40,500, which is an
is a
AZ1 record. And like
wild
Filippo
number.
said, this AZ1 previously set a record on Cars and Bid, the last AZ1
Yep,
record,
which had not been broken yet.
which was 34.
Yeah, we broke it for the same exact car, but post a bunch of modifications. Doug reviewed this car, belonged to
friend
Kevin,
Kevin,
who you've seen on the
I've driven
channel.
it. I've driven this car, the
Driven this
record
car?
breaker.
As
Right.
have I. It was great.
It was great.
Love driving
Little.
that thing. Yeah, little and buzzy.
Little and buzzy.
That's what you want, though.
Like the Countach, but littler,
Yeah.
buzzier,
But very similar otherwise.
right-hand drive.
You can redline it first, second, and third gear and not be doing 40. Something.
That is something special.
Japan, dude. It's a wild
Just like
place.
40 grand is a lot of money for a car that's not that low mile. Like these are desirable, like just legit, well presented, nicely modified.
Well, they deserve to be. They're pretty.
I know.
They're pretty
They're
cool.
So
cool.
cool.
All these K cars are kind of dumb, except for like this one and the, and the cool.
That was exactly the take I was gonna have.
the Beat and the Cappuccino are all cool.
The B Cappuccino are worth very little because they are like normal cars.
Well, and
They're
they
normal.
were made in much higher numbers.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason. Because I
For
think
what
the
it's worth, they're all
Beat,
cool. They're not dumb,
The Beat
but-
is the more drivable one.
Yeah.
It's pretty big inside the Beat, and I had zebra pattern seats. They all did OE. Swear to you. I
Zebra.
swear to you. Zebra. My bad. With a Z.
Yep.
But the AZ1 and do you remember what the Suzuki version was called?
The Suzuki Cappuccino.
There was a Suzuki version of this.
Yes, I do. Oh my goodness.
Suzuki Kara or Kara.
I was gonna say Sarah, but then I thought that's a Toyota Sarah.
Anyway, the point is this made money. It deserved to make money. It's cool as hell. And there's other market report things to discuss. Kennan, give us something.
Yes, so we recently sold a car that like stands out in my mind. Now, I love the GT3, wonderful car.
Wow.
This 991.1 GT3 sold for $118,900.
You understand the can of worms you're bringing up here.
Yes, it's a tip.
It's a tip, and
It had the engine thing, but Porsche recalled all of them.
do you know what the engine thing
Yeah,
is?
they
They caught
recalled
fire.
and replaced every
The
single engine in a
engines
GT3.
were exploding.
Well, but then they replaced them.
They recalled all of them. And they also recalled them quickly, which people don't really realize. Like,
The engines were exploding.
well, now they don't because they've been replaced rather.
Well,
They don't because they've been fixed.
Okay.
But
We're trying to sell these cars. Yeah, these things are
No,
great.
but are there
point-
continued issues? Like, I'm sure that's keeping price down.
There
little
have
bit,
been a
but-
couple, but that's true of every car.
Yeah.
Yes, they've been recalled and replaced, but they are all tips.
Yes, they are all tips, and I
PDK,
realize that.
yeah.
However, 996 GT3s, the first GT3 offered in the United States, 996.2, those on average, according to Classic.com, are selling for about, on average, the last 5 years, selling for 118 grand or $108,000. So for $10,000 more, you get
I'd
that.
rather have
which
that.
from a driving, I think I probably would too, but
This is objectively
that is a
incredibly good
pretty
car, though.
like that is to
These
put
are
it in
fast,
perspective.
These are fun. These are cool. These are modern, which the 996 GT3
cannot
is
even
definitely not.
remotely claim. Yeah.
That's a stick, though. I love how the 996 GT3 looks. I will say that I think more to the overall point here, it's interesting that you can still get a couple of 911 GT3s in the low hundreds.
Yeah.
Because there was a time when I was younger that 997 GT3s were in that market. In fact, every GT3, when it was new, was 150 grand, and then it depreciated to 100 when it was used. Those days are over. Like,
Yeah.
and they're not even really depreciating much. So
No, I mean, they're just.
if you want to spend 100 G's and be like, have a cool Porsche, a GT3
Or
996
it's the
or
most
this.
or
visibly
just
cool
to
Porsche.
drive, to really
Yeah.
drive and use. I mean, this is.
Yeah, because the thing about these cars, this is also like the 996 in general. The thing about these cars is they're the bad GT3, and everybody kind of knows that, but they're still a GT3.
Still a GT3.
It's like saying the bad Kennan. Like you still have
right.
Kennan.
Oh,
Right.
that's very kind. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know who the comparison point would be for that, but I think this car,
Sean.
our producer. I love the idea of this car for. I mean, granted, it's still a lot of money, but relative to other GT3s, considering the 997.1 GT3 is $150,000
What does a new
car.
GT3 cost MSRP today?
You got to assume 200 something.
Oh, yeah, one assumes.
New GT3 MSRP starts at
183.
222.5.
Oh, for the dot twos.
222.5.
22.
So this is half price. I mean, I get your point. It will always have the stigma, though. If you show up
will.
at the PCA gatherings, it's like the Boxster of GT3s.
But if you
but you're right. If
just
you
wanna
buy
drive
it
a
to
car.
drive, if you just want to
If
go
you
on a
don't care
mountain
about
drive,
that, yeah, and admittedly, if you can't drive manual or something like that, or you want to be able to use it on a more frequent basis,
Or you want the
eh, pretty
fastest track speeds.
yeah, or you're going for times. I think it's a very compelling buy.
let's talk GSF.
Yeah.
Because you have an interesting point here.
We sold a GSF the other day. We have one live right now, but we also sold one earlier this week for 55.
55 US.
This car had an 85K sticker.
85 sticker.
So over the
7
course
years
of,
ago.
7 years ago, and reasonable number of miles. I mean, they did what, 40,000, something like that. Scroll down. 40,000 miles. An F90 M5, also worth 55
Pull
grand.
up a new tab. Pull up that F90 M5.
The most recent one that we sold had a 115 sticker.
Yeah.
So depreciation is wild. I mean, same sale price, similar mileage, if memory
A
serves.
little newer, less miles.
Sold for $2,000 less.
52.5. And
Right.
The Lexus sold for more.
For more.
So the BMW is newer with less miles.
And depreciated
What was-
twice as
What
much.
was the horsepower number on the BMW? Because isn't
600.
the difference insane? What is it on this?
467.
Yeah, it's 130 horsepower. But the GSFs are remaining so desirable.
It's true at the ISFs too. People want reliability. Used
Like-
car market values different things, but I think this is a great point. I wanted to talk about this because you found I didn't realize this was happening. The GSF is already. These cars aren't that old. The GSF has already overtaken the
Yeah.
M5 in used desirability.
Yep.
Already,
After 7 years.
the market. I'm gonna throw out something.
Wow.
The
All right, let's hear
market
it.
does not trust high performance BMW engines.
Especially
Just doesn't.
M5s. Especially M5 engines.
I think that's true though of all of them. Look at X6Ms. Look at X5Ms.
Okay, well,
These-
I mean, sorry. Especially I think M3s have a little bit of a buffer there.
I don't know, man.
Especially
ISF.
when we gave one
The
year.
market does not trust used BMW
Can you blame
engines.
them?
Because after the warranty period ends, that's when the problems
Yeah.
start coming.
And the GSF, there's a couple of small things that are known in the community, but like,
And
they
I gotta
don't
be
have
honest,
problems.
I've driven both these cars pretty significantly. The M5 drives way better. Way better. First off, it's a newer
course.
generation
Yeah.
of automobile.
And better
like it's
tech.
the next.
Well, no offense, it's an M5.
It's an M5. It drives amazing. It's got
Yep.
way more power. It's faster. I felt this car was excellent, but dynamically could have improved. The powertrain is fine, but like 467
Right.
horse is not
I
600.
mean, the M5 has
However,
20% more horsepower.
to be perfectly honest, if I'm thinking about one of these, I'm thinking GSF.
Right.
Like it's going to be reliable. I'm buying a
reliable.
used off warranty car. Plus, you can get that blue with those gold calipers.
And you can get that mouse infotainment thing.
That was bad.
But like, that's what you're signing up for, and you're paying more than an F90 M5. And I don't blame you.
Yep.
I also would.
Yep.
Well,
You think about
No.
what people want these used.
I would buy
Well,
the
that's
M5
because
first.
you're willing to
I
dump
like to
money into
drive.
cars. And I will
Yeah.
say, the value differential between the two, as it widens, will be what the market feels that you need to spend to get the M5 to a level of drivability that the GSF is already at, right? Like if it's a 10 grand difference, the market then values the extra power at this, and then the rest of the value differential is that spend. And you're a guy who spends on his cars, and that makes sense. It does drive better.
Yeah,
But
I drive, so I would
Right,
make
so
a car
you
that drives
you
better.
drive and you spend.
And you spend.
And that's the thing, because there are a lot of other people who drive but can't outlay that level of cash.
Or aren't willing to put up with the will it start today issue.
To be clear, both these cars are automatics. I'd never consider either one.
Okay.
But nonetheless.
God, I'm glad you're on this pod because you are like a lot of grumpy car enthusiasts.
Well, hey, man,
and we need to have that.
I've never had an automatic, only
There
manuals.
we go.
And I'm
That's
sticking to
well,
that for as
Kennan,
long as
thank you for
possible.
proving my point. I
I've only
appreciate
owned
it.
one.
Yeah, but you've owned one. And you didn't, it wasn't something.
I have needs in my
wasn't
life.
something
that
cool.
M5
It was an
doesn't-
I'm just going to
E-Class
say this. I got more manuals than the two of you put together. Put you two together, I got more manuals than you.
I have a higher proportion of manuals.
Yeah.
I have to think about that. I have a higher proportion of manuals.
No, I got 3 out of 6. We got both the same, 50%. Kennan, though, wins that. Nonetheless, I do have 3, and the two of you put together only have 2. Okay, we got to move on to questions. Questions are sponsored by Filippo.
Yeah,
Filippo.
personally.
He does the logical thing. Okay, questions first. Now remember, you can ask us questions too, carsandbids.com, and then click the communities tab, and there will be a post there that says, hey, ask us questions. We are not podcasting next week. Next week is Thanksgiving in America. Instead of podcasting, we will be giving thanks.
And what will we post on Twitter? X.
I might do that. I kind of left Twitter because it's kind of a cesspool.
Can you do it on a different
I'll
platform?
do it on Twitter just for you.
What about like Facebook or Instagram?
I'll do it on all of them.
Blue Sky, True
Not-
Social. I don't know. Take your pick.
I'll pop it onto Truth Social. It would do well there. Okay, first question from Max McCullough. From Max McCullough. Hi, Doug. Can we get a swear jar on the podcast, except instead for swearing, it's for Kennan whenever he brings up the E39 M5. Folks, Kennan, there's a complaint on the whenever you read the comments that Kennan talking about his E39 M5 too much. First off, a couple things. Kennan has more depth in car than he reveals on the podcast.
Yeah.
Kennan is a big Ferrari enthusiast. He talks about Ferrari with me way more than we talk about the E39 M5. But also, this is who Kennan is.
Right.
That'd be like telling Filippo not to be logical and sensible and reasonable. Last night I asked Filippo what his favorite color is, and he said, I don't have one. And then he clarified, his favorite color used to be blue.
Yeah, there was
but
a time.
he decided he didn't want a favorite color anymore.
it
was too
didn't-
much
it wasn't that
choice.
It would
important.
offend the other colors. Take a step back from
I
it.
no longer felt notable.
No, you're-
It wasn't a color that I identified with especially.
So, like, you're giving Kennan crap. Like, you should get to know Filippo.
Well, I have to admit, there's a meme in my friend group about you,
Yeah.
and it's every time we bring up a car they're gonna buy, you always mention something, then you never buy anything. That's the meme.
I reach out to sometimes. There's 2 cars that I strongly considered in the
Filippo
last
wastes
month.
the time of dealers
I
sometimes.
do not.
I don't
I do
waste
not.
car dealer time unless I'm buying. I
The
buy it.
last time you bought a car, I reached out to dealers on your behalf.
Yeah,
first
and
of
we
all.
were ready to buy, and you negotiated me a discount of $0.
But as I
Smack
recall it.
dab right in the middle.
Have we ever told this story on the pod?
I don't think so.
We've
We
never
don't
told
need
this
to
story on the
today.
pod.
We
I
don't
gotta
need to
tell the
today.
story. It's such a good story. Okay, I wanted to buy a Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro, right? And
camo
it had just come out a year earlier, but there were used ones that had
Barely.
already flooded
There were
the
like
market.
2
There were
used
a
ones.
few.
There were
And
2.
New ones I couldn't find at sticker, and used ones were like not at sticker either, but almost.
There were 2 TRD Pro in white, which was the
I wanted
requirement
white,
in
and
the
I
world.
didn't want the roof rack. Remember?
Right. It was a very. There were legitimately 2 cars in the country.
And I didn't want the red interior.
And you didn't want the gun box.
I didn't want the gun storage safe. Actually, I would have been happy with that. You never know what's going to happen. And so, and anyway, so Filippo, I said to Filippo, look, I need to buy this car, but I really don't want to do it myself. Filippo loves like the car buying process and like dealing with dealers. He loves it. So I was like, why don't you negotiate this for me? So we find one in Ohio. And it was near where Kennan is from, actually, Northeast Ohio.
Kent, Ohio, I think is where it was.
And we find it Toyota of Kent. And Filippo reaches out and he says, listen, I'm interested in Sequoia. And they were asking 82 or something.
Which, by the way, is like for a few grand below sticker.
A few grand below, so right at stake. It was like the cheapest one.
It was, yeah.
And so Filippo said, I'm interested in this. And so the people, they start going at the negotiation, right?
Yeah.
Filippo offers 80. And they said, no. 81. No. 81.5. And eventually they say no. And Filippo goes, okay, we'll take it for the 82
Well,
then.
I will say.
This was a day of negotiations.
I will
Filippo
say
spent.
it took time. And also, it's really hard to negotiate when it is already the cheapest one in the country. There's 2 for sale, period.
He's giving
And
me
Doug is willing to
excuses.
spend it.
He was
It's not
willing
my
to do
money.
it. So at the end of all this, they discovered like my name, but no one at the dealer knew who
Yeah.
I was. And so there was no like benefit that I got from
none.
being me. So at the end of the day, this is all true. At the end of the day, they call me up and they're like, all right, we need to get your information, take a deposit, get it done. I gave them my driver's license, and then they went dark.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, they call me. They're like, we sold it to a local buyer. So not only did Filippo spend a day negotiating and get the price down $0, but we didn't even get the car.
But there was the other one in the country was in Nevada, and I did negotiate it down a couple grand. And
It was like $200 you got off the Nevada
I got like
one.
a grand off.
And it had a red interior.
And then Doug backed out for this Ohio one. And then I had to write the very kind salesperson who I talked to a lot on the phone a review on Google Reviews because he didn't get a sale out of it because Doug wanted the specific car.
You were the person.
No, after that, we found a new one.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is but that was my favorite. That was the Filippo
That was just
negotiating
the
story.
Filippo
He
classic.
spent a day negotiating, got the price down $0, and so then we met at Ask, and we still didn't get the car.
I will say
that is a Filippo
That's
negotiation.
Last week I reached out about a green C7 Corvette that was for sale at a dealership in Sacramento. And I emailed back and forth with one of their online salespeople who was very helpful. And I thought they were a little bit high on their price. And I thought if they got down like $2,000, we'd be in the right spot.
$2,000.
They refused.
They refused, and they sold it to somebody else
The next day.
for their asking price.
He lost it over 2 Gs.
Well, I was only willing to pay the market appropriate price.
Okay, we got to go over a couple more questions. Next question is from Pooh. It's actually _Pooh. If you had to daily drive a car worth over $1 million, what would you pick? It's a good one.
Can you list some cars that are worth over $1 million?
250 Lusso. What other? Yeah.
I mean, isn't Chiron the answer?
Chiron is definitely the answer because it's more reliable than its predecessor.
Well, but also, it's just like usable car.
It's a Bentley that happens to be able to do 260 miles an hour.
It would be annoying to drive around in a Chiron, though. People would be excited about it. Courier GT, nobody looks at. You could drive that, but it's harsh.
Shishi would be tough.
Tell Design Columbus.
A Tel Design Columbus, I can't imagine the mill.
Right.
Because, if they wanted a mill.
Says over
Right.
mill.
It's not the objection to daily use. It's the objection that it's not worth it.
I remember I tried to buy that car from Tel Design and they refused to sell it to me because it is part of our heritage. And I'm thinking to myself, not a good part.
Okay, it says over $1 million. You think I offered them 10
I would
mil,
have
they don't give
offered.
to you?
I would have been willing to go up to 150 cash. And you know what? Those Italian design houses are all kind of perpetually in financial
You could have
trouble.
bought the entire
I should
company.
stay in contact.
Hit him
with
again.
I should hit him again.
Yeah.
It's like the Gilmore Girls Wrangler. I should hit him again. How
story
are
for a
things
different day.
now?
Yeah, I think the Chiron is probably the correct answer there.
You got a better answer? He doesn't know any cars over $1
I don't know
million.
any cars over $1 million.
Probably the She though.
Yeah, I don't think the Lagonda Taraf is over $1 million anymore.
No, it's not. I thought about that because what other luxury cars over $1 million bucks, right? It's all sports cars, and so I guess the question is asking what super high-end sports car is the most reasonable not to get beat up in.
How much do you think
That's
Mercedes
it,
would
yeah.
charge me for their S213 off-road version? Remember the
Portal axle
Portal
E450?
Yeah.
Pull that up. That is a possibility.
They told me for
Hey,
now.
by the way, what about a 6x6 G? Those aren't $1 million bucks anymore, though.
What should I be looking for?
Just type in E450 Portal axle.
Yeah, I don't-
E450 4x4 squared is I think what they
I
called
think
it.
that's what they called it.
You got to type in E400 E-class wagon.
It may have been an
4x4
E400 at the time.
wagon 4x4 squared,
I'm gonna have to type it up.
and then just hit enter. You don't have to delete Portal axle. Just hit it. There it is.
Yeah,
There it is.
Wow.
Now, I
That's
don't
a
think that'd be
car.
$1 million bucks though.
but
No.
I would pay him $1 million just to have
And Philippe
to drive around.
Philippe was mine. It's
Answer this question.
Nah. Chiron's the answer. I was gonna say, what do you think Volkswagen would want for their GTI W12?
No.
don't think $1
Okay,
million.
next question comes from Oh Yes Yes. Fellas, what is the best example of a car that wasn't sold in America, but if it was, it would have been a financial success? This is a great question. Everybody's always like, what do you want to import? What would have been a success? The answer is the Nissan Terra. Pull it up!
Nissan Terra.
The Nissan Terra.
Terra?
Here is a fun
or
fact.
Terra 2,
Here's
which is a different
fun fact
vehicle.
for our audience that doesn't know. You're thinking of the Tirana.
I am thinking of the Tirana 2.
Here's a fun fact for our audience that doesn't know. The Nissan Xterra, which was a body-on-frame SUV-ish thing that was relatively successful, it was canceled in the U.S. after the 2015 model year, right when off-roading became a thing. Like, they canceled it, and then the market blew up. But for our American audience that doesn't know, Nissan continued to make the Xterra in other markets called simply the Terra. And it wasn't as cool looking, but it was still pretty trucky and capable, and they never sold it here. It sold in Asia. I think that Nissan's biggest mistake and Nissan has made a ton of mistakes. Like, it's wild. But their biggest mistake was getting rid of the Xterra the day before off-roading became a thing.
Yeah, that's a good example.
And they could have sold this in the U.S. and done well. Maybe a boxier version of it.
Yeah, in a similar vein, I think that the current gen Jimny would have sold well for a year or two.
I think it would have been a hit. Just
Then,
Yeah,
then,
I
then
think-
people would have realized it's not a good car, but people drive a lot of bad cars.
people
It's
drive a
cool.
lot of bad cars. and
500E.
It's cool looking and it's cheap.
Right. I think it would have been hard to federalize, like to get it to pass.
Suzuki,
tests,
it's such a shame about Suzuki. They left the U.S. market like the day before they started making
Yeah.
desirable cars.
Yep.
The Swift,
Like the
the new
Ignis.
Swift is cool too. They had the Ignis before.
I know. But it became desirable.
What was that weird-looking Suzuki hatchback thing? We're not going to get into this.
Do you think the R34 GTR, if it had been sold in the US, would have been pretty successful?
But the problem was it would have just been hard, and they came out with the next one.
well, I'm aware, but that's not the spirit of the question.
The Suzuki Aereo, by the way.
Yeah, I think that they would have been successful with that car just because there was so much hype about it at that time. But decisions were made years before the hype started, and it's such a
that's
shame.
right. But the R35 killed it in the end.
They are R34
They'll fly.
GTRs are now legal. They're not left-hand drive. There are some conversions, but it's a shame.
And they're real money. Aereo. Aereo.
No, I was thinking of
A-E-R-I-O.
I was thinking of some sort of Ignis hatchback. Anyway, we'll discuss off camera.
All right, we will.
Big Ultima Hater 6 asks a very interesting question. Do you think the electric G-Wagen will face the same depreciation of other EVs? For those of you who don't know, an EV that was purchased last year is today worth the same as a pencil sharpener. Does that
And
apply
not
to the
an electric
G-Wagen?
pencil sharpener.
No, just a regular manual
one, yeah.
Does that apply to the electric G-Wagen? Because the G-Wagen has always had incredibly strong depreciation. It is not depreciated
Or incredibly
much.
strong.
Is it going to follow the depreciation curve of an EV or the depreciation curve of a G-Wagen?
Well, I think that the question is a little bit of an issue. During COVID, G550s had no depreciation. They are depreciating.
But not
as fast as the
look
regular.
at ranges. Yeah.
I think that they will have depreciation, like somewhere between there and most other EVs.
If they do, I want one. If I can pick one of these up for 65, I want one.
I think you've got a couple of years if demand is strong, while supply is still low. But then I don't think they stay up.
I don't
think demand is that
necessarily
strong for
agree.
them.
I don't necessarily. The thing with the G is that even what props up older G values is they all look the same. And like, I think the demand will be sufficiently high for that car for a pretty long time because you sacrifice basically nothing.
Fair point.
And you can drive for people who want a G, but they want to signal to people that they're environmentally conscious. A lot of stars in LA.
Yep.
They want the electric one.
That's
and
right.
I don't.
And it does look like every other G.
And
the
correct.
thing about the G-Wagen is the only reason everybody wants one. We would all be driving one except the image is horrible.
Image is tough.
And then there are some people who don't care about that and just do it anyway.
And are
they're the
doing
ones
it
creating the image.
because of that.
Exactly.
Right.
But now here's an opportunity to get out of the Teslas and get back into a G and do the electric thing like you said. I would love to have one. I think they're cool.
It was
Kennan
cool.
makes a good point. They might not depreciate because
I
they
think
look
they're
like
going to
every other
depreciate
G.
like a G-Wagon and not like an EV.
And
I agree with Kennan.
It looks the same.
Yeah.
It looks the same. They did not mess with the design of the right
and it
call.
drives the same. It drives well.
Yeah.
It's fast. It's bulky and brawny. That's what people
When
like
you're just
about
driving
it.
around in traffic in LA. Who cares?
Yeah.
And you're sitting there
But
in
range.
silence, and like it actually might be nicer. It might be more desirable than the gas one for some people.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, we can do two more questions.
Okay.
Two more questions.
Let's hit-
One of
hear
them
'em.
is ridiculous and one of them is good.
Okay.
The good one is from Ryan JG. JJ. If you were to all choose a different car for the $18,000 enthusiast challenge, what car would you choose? Panamera Turbo.
Knowing the challenges or not knowing the challenges,
Yeah, knowing the challenge.
which most people don't yet know all the challenges.
But what would you choose? I legit would choose a Panamera Turbo.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
It's arguably a better choice than what you made.
It is arguably a better choice. Yeah. I didn't put a lot of thought into it when Sean came to me.
Actually, what you
Like, I
said,
want a Cayenne.
what you said when we proposed it was, I will only do this if I'm in a Cayenne.
Didn't I also say or a Panamera?
Yeah, I think you may have.
But definitely wanted a Cayenne, preferred a Cayenne.
I think if I'm like just buying an $18,000 car, the two that come to mind, besides the C6 Corvette that I did buy, an S2000, you can get a pretty nice S2000 for 18. You can also get a mediocre 996 911. Neither would have been better for these challenges.
you would've-
The C6 would have been is the right car for the challenges, but
Filippo,
interesting cars.
you think in the drag race?
No. That's what I'm saying.
You would choose an
I'm thinking out loud.
S2000?
I'm thinking out. People don't know there's a drag race yet. There's a drag race. In the challenges, I think that those would have both performed worse than the car I chose. But if I
They would have been good
$18,000
$18,000 cars. What about you?
What
What if we had forced you to not have an E39 M5?
God, I begged.
E60 M5. They had to stop a lot for fuel. No, E60 M5 was another one I did
E34
consider.
M5.
But man, for the price range you're in, some tough E60s. I don't know, we would have made it. And they're all SMG, obviously.
I want power. And I want
but then I
stick.
was thinking, if I were thinking automatic, I considered W211 E55 AMGs. Those are right in that price range, and that is a
Wait a
lot
minute.
of car.
I want to switch to that. Now what would you take? I already have it.
Too late. I said it
No,
first.
Panameра's the right option.
You can have.
Panamera
I'll tell you,
Turbo.
you can have. Yeah, you can have a wagon.
Yeah.
But those aren't.
Those are
18.
good. That's okay. Fine. Those are
I think
good.
I'd be happy with
E60 M5 actually would have been funny and interesting.
I would.
Yeah, but it would have exploded.
Okay.
Can you
last
get a Model
question.
3 for 18?
Yeah,
You would.
maybe.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck charging, Filippo.
Okay, final question is from Nick Shee, and it is, Kennan, go over to the thing. The question is, I have an important question. Is the thing here a fake air intake or a blinker signal on the
obviously
little
it's a
Cars
blinker.
and Bids logo?
Obviously, it's
You think it's a
It's where
blinker?
the side indicator is. Yeah.
Okay, what do you think?
I thought it was a blinker.
Suicide door handle.
Okay, that is the other option.
I
agree with that.
But like, you'd be opening this half of the car. Like, it'd be opening
Yeah.
the fender of the car.
Also, I love our
Yeah.
designer dearly. I don't think he thought about suicide doors.
No, I think it's one of those, a lot of cars have like fake intake vents there.
No, it's a side indicator.
No.
And it better be amber.
By law, I think.
Thankfully.
They're always amber on the side, I think.
Well, and in other markets, it can be white.
You advised on the logo.
Yeah.
Surely. When it was
Yeah, I
slightly
remember
before my
being
time.
pitched this and a couple others, and I was like, I like them all.
By the way, there are others. This is the car we chose for the logo, but there are other
There
cars.
are other cars. We made other
Something to
cars. Did you know
consider.
that? There's like trucks and
I
stuff.
think I do remember. I think I have them.
There's also some
Some of them looked
convertibles.
too close to a car.
There was
Yeah.
one that looked
This-
like a 458. There
This looked like that Honda electric Honda thing, didn't it? That Honda EV thing that sold in other markets.
the Honda E.
Yeah.
Does not look like a Honda E at all. Can
It
you
looked
pull up
like
a Honda E?
it looked like some concept car version of the Honda E that was coupier. Someone will post in the comments about it. Anyway, the point
Nobody
is
understands what you're referring to.
that's an intake, not a blinker. And if it was a
No,
blinker, it would be
blinker.
amber, and white blinkers side are not allowed.
Agreed.
Before we sign off, we have one more thing to discuss. Someone sent us a dog. Someone who sent us a business card saying that they were a Subaru ambassador. His name was Fred. He sent us this dog.
Aw.
The dog has a collar that says Subaru.
Can I say hi to the
And
dog?
on the thing it says, no. It doesn't like you. On the thing it says, Subaru loves pets. I'll tell you what, if you can name the state for me that the company is headquartered in that created this dog,
It's in
I would.
Indiana, obviously.
Nope. New Hampshire. The dog
What?
stays with
Oh, the
me.
company that made the dog. Well, I should have listened.
Yep. The dog stays with me. You can have him too. His name will be Fred after the person who got him for us, after Mike, the Audi thing, robot, and then these bizarre Toyota things. Speaking of the bizarre Toyota things, by the way, thank you, Fred, for our dog, which
Yes, thank you.
is very plush and beautiful.
Nope, you can't touch the dog.
Speaking of the Toyota things, again, we are not here next week, but we don't have to be because this was our best podcast ever. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Damage.
Merch.carsandbits.com.